So I'm here now at the Embracer Exchange of Experience in Cork City Hall, and I'm with Nora O'Donovan, who represents the Cork Access Group on the Transport Mobility Forum, and as a stakeholder in Embracer. She's a powerhouse of representing senior citizens in Cork City, regularly honoured by the Lord Mayor, and we are very glad to have her as a stakeholder in this project. So this project is about connecting underserved areas at the periphery of the city with public transport. So from your aspect, from your perspective, as somebody who represents senior citizens and those with mobility and access issues, what do you think is the most important thing for connecting those people in those underserved areas with public transport?
It's a very hard question.
If it was an easy question, we wouldn't need to ask it.
Because, as I said earlier on when I was speaking, there are a lot of people that need their cars. Because some people are not so near to a bus stop. And, you know, they wouldn't be able to walk as far as the bus stop. Mm. So one or two people that are in our group, in the Access group, that are in wheelchairs, they need their car rather than having to use public transport. And we have a problem in that, you know, they need to be able to come into the centre of the city. They need to be able to park in the centre of the city to go to various areas. And a few of our people have been fined by Gardaí who are not have empathy for them if they were 5 minutes over the time that you can park or move in the city between 3 and 6 in the main street. The other thing then about using the public transport, we have a lot of new drivers, and it's just my opinion. I'm not saying it's everybody's opinion, but my opinion, that they're not being adequately trained to cater for older people, because they're taking off too fast, and I nearly fell a couple of times. They're not giving me time to sit down. They don't know how to lower the step on the healing buses. I had to tell one guy one day, the button is there on your right-hand side, and would you press it, please, because I can't get off the bus. It's too high. And they're very courteous, the drivers. It's just that they're not being trained to accommodate older people. And as well as that, when you press the button to stop, I don't know, are they not concentrating or what, but they mightn't let me off at the stop I want to get off. They might take me to the next stop. Yeah. You know? Does that answer your question?
That's all. Now, I followed up. Now, you talked about how older people are often forced into a dependency in cars because the public transport system doesn't serve them, because the stops may not be close enough or whatever. We know when we had consultations on Bus Connect, there's this real tension between, say, younger, fitter people who want a more frequent service on a fewer routes and older people who want a less frequent service on a larger number of routes that serves areas. Is there something along that line that you maybe need a service twice a day that goes much closer, that provides bus stops much closer? Is that something that would make things easier for older people?
That certainly would. And the other problem we foresaw, I'm not sure if I'm right in saying this, that when the Bus Connect was coming in, most of the services were coming to the city centre, and then you had to get off that bus and get on another bus if you wanted to go further afield. And what we're worried about is on a wet day, you're going to get drenched wet, and it's not good for older people to be sitting in wet clothes for any amount of time. In fact, this week, sorry to say, 2 of my friends died from pneumonia. Now, it has nothing to do with the bus, but like when you're older, you have to be careful of getting wet. And a lot of our bus shelters don't have adequate seating if you're waiting from one bus to another, and most of them don't have any seating at all, you know. And I can't think of the word I was looking for. Like sheltered, we need a sheltered
Yeah.
bus centre, bus shelter as well.
So, and particularly, you need those bus shelters at the interconnecting stations.
Exactly.
If they're expecting older people to transfer from one service to another, it needs to be at a single stop that keeps you warm, keeps you dry, and there aren't any other hazards.
Yeah.
Now, we've seen good practice in other Embracer partners, for instance, in our visit to Leipzig, where we saw on-demand services, where you could go on your phone and get a car or a minivan that would come directly to your house and pick you up. Do you think that that's a good sort of option for people who are a little bit further from a bus stop, that they could get an on-demand service to collect them from their door or from within, say, 50 metres of the door if the door wasn't a safe place to stop, and then bring them to the next node, to the next warm, dry bus stop or the city centre or whatever was required?
I think that would be an excellent idea, because at the moment I'm very well served, because I can walk a small distance and I can access 5 different buses. But the other lady that was representing the age-friendly, where she lives, there's only one bus during the day.
Yeah.
And even though she's in the city,
Yeah.
there was only one bus during the day. And she is very worried about when the bus connect comes in. And she has been one of the people that was trying to get the taxi drivers to have some kind of a deal or something like that, more so than I was, but it would benefit me too. But she was very anxious to have it, because a lot of the people around her as well are older, and quite a lot of them, like she has given up driving, and quite a lot have given up driving as well, because they've lost their confidence, I think, and they also find that there's not a great deal of courtesy on the road by the drivers, and it is making them nervous. So that would be a great help.
That's great. So I think that we're seeing measures that could be taken that would make life much easier for old people. It would limit their dependence on a car, and it would mean that people could stay independent for longer, active for longer, and have a better quality of life.
That's right, yeah, it would. And like as I said there the other day, if we can't have transport, if we're not able to drive, and if we can't use public transport, are we going to be locked up again like we were in the COVID?
Yeah.
And sitting inside looking out the window. I was inside for 7 weeks looking out the window, everybody passing, walking up and down, and and if we're not able to get out, is that our life from now on? And that's sad, because you'd be better off dead than living a life like that, I think. That's my opinion.
I think that's a great way to end it. Thank you very much, Nora.
Very welcome. Thank you.